In a world buzzing with political noise, the biggest moves often go unnoticed. No breaking headlines. No flashy summits. Just quiet signatures that reshape global power. And that's exactly what happened when India and the United Kingdom signed their historic free trade agreement in 2025. What's at stake? Not just billions in trade, but the emergence of India as a rulemaker in global economics, and a UK that's rewriting its post-Brexit identity. Let's unpack how this game-changing deal came to be, and why it might just change the course of global alliances. After 14 rounds of intense negotiations, late-night calls, and years of economic diplomacy, India and Britain finally concluded one of the most comprehensive free trade agreements either country has ever signed. This isn't a symbolic handshake. This is a binding economic alliance. The agreement eliminates or reduces tariffs on over 11,000 products, boosts services and digital trade, ensures investment protections, and even addresses labor mobility, making it easier for Indian professionals to work in the UK. It's expected to double bilateral trade to $100 billion by 2030. But numbers only tell half the story. Let's look at the real implications. India has never been more ambitious. With eyes set on becoming a $5 trillion economy, India is moving from protectionism to strategic global engagement. And this FTA is a key move in that playbook. Why? It gives Indian exporters priority access to one of the world's wealthiest consumer markets. Textiles, gems, pharma, and software services, India's strongholds, will now enjoy reduced tariffs. Indian startups and investors can now enter British markets with fewer regulatory hurdles. Even Indian students and tech workers will benefit from eased visa pathways and mobility partnerships. But more importantly, it proves that India is no longer content with just being a developing market. India is becoming a decisive force in reshaping global trade rules. For Britain, the stakes were higher. Post-Brexit, the UK was desperate to strike bilateral trade deals that could prove its independence from the EU was a viable strategy. And in that sense, this free trade agreement is more than just trade, it's geopolitical proof of concept. British companies now get better access to India's growing middle class, one of the largest consumer bases in the world. Premium sectors like British automobiles, alcohol, medical tech, and financial services gain an edge in India. And on a broader level, the UK gains a strong ally in the Indo-Pacific, a region where it is actively seeking influence through its Global Britain vision. It's a win both economically and symbolically. The world didn't react with applause. But it paid attention. The United States has taken note, and quietly acknowledged that India is now building trade ties independently, without leaning on Washington's support. Meanwhile, the European Union, still tangled in regulatory red tape, is now facing pressure to accelerate its own stalled trade negotiations with India, talks that have dragged on since 2007. Other emerging economies are watching too, seeing India not as a follower of the West, but as a leader in South-South and cross-continental partnerships. India didn't just shake hands with Britain. It sent a signal to the world. We are open, competitive, and ready to lead. This free trade agreement is more than a trade blueprint. It's a strategic shift. It supports India's push to become a global manufacturing hub, a counterbalance to China in global supply chains. It strengthens India's middle class and small and medium enterprise sector, giving them new avenues for growth. It aligns perfectly with Make in India, Digital India, and Startup India missions, giving Indian enterprises global exposure. And it serves India's geopolitical ambitions, using economic power as soft power, especially in the Commonwealth and the Indo-Pacific. India is no longer waiting for a seat at the table. It's building its own, one deal at a time. So what does this all mean? It means that while global powers were busy with elections and diplomacy, India was busy making moves, smart, quiet, future-proof moves. The India-UK Free Trade Agreement is not just a trade deal. It's a statement. A statement that India is no longer a rising power. It's already arrived. And the world? It's just catching up.